Hi everyone, Kirk here with Kirk's Motorrad Shop in Crystal Lake, Illinois, bringing you a do-it-yourself video. Today's video is going to be on how to do an annual service on your R1250 GS. This is going to be very similar on other R1250 models, but this one's going to be specific to the GS. And as always, if you would like me to work on your bike, just hit me up in an email, kirk@kirksmotorrad.com, or through my contact page, kirksmotorrad.com. You can also find me on Google now. So there's the third way, I guess. We're going to get going on this. So whenever a bike comes in for service, for an annual service, and what I do for an annual service is it's always the same stuff on all of the models. So if somebody says I need an annual, this is what you're going to get. It's going to be really dependent upon where you're at in your cycle, whether or not you need valves checked or anything like that. That's beyond an annual service. An annual service to me is changing the oil, changing the final drive, as well as flushing the brakes. It's usually those three things. Now, of course, it can expand bigger than that. Maybe you've got some things that you do in your annual service, but of course, one of the other things that I'm going to do is give the bike a thorough inspection. I'm going to take a look at the brakes. I'm going to look at the condition of the tires. I'm going to review any old records that I might have if I've worked or serviced this, worked on or serviced this bike before. I'm going to pull the records to see is there any other additional services that need to be done based on where the miles are at or the last time that it was serviced. If you guys are bringing me your bike for the first time, I would want to hopefully be able to access some records so that I don't repeat things that have already been done. I cannot stand wasting people's money. Really, I do not want to waste anybody's money or my time by, if the oil change was just done, 1,000 miles ago, man, there's no reason to do that again. So, but I will go through it and everything that I do. So I have not actually had this particular bike here in my shop. This customer just brought me this yesterday, and I'm going to go through it right now with you guys, just over my initial inspection, and then I'm going to go right into changing the oil, changing out the final drive, and flushing the brakes, and with all the tools and everything that's involved. So let's get going on that. All right, going right through my inspection here. First thing I'm going to do is have a quick look at the tires. In this case, the tires are pretty much shot. These are pretty gone. They're getting really close to the wear indicators, and I would say the guy needs tires. He did bring it in and wants me to change his tires, but because he's going on a big trip and doesn't want to be having an issue where he winds up seeing threads on a trip. That would be terrible. I've got a very nice flashlight here with it's a little pointer flashlight. It's a snap-on one, but you can find these from other brands. I think I might even have one on my Amazon page. And I'm going to just get down in here and inspect the brakes, the front brakes. Hopefully this is going to focus in. Yeah, it will. And you can see as long as you can see those little air gaps that are in the brake pads, they're still good. So these are definitely still good. No issues there. Take a quick peek at this one. Sometimes the brakes wear unevenly, and whatever brake pad is the least brake pad, that's the one that you want to make sure that if one of them is bad, change them all. Just going to do a quick inspection here of the radiators as well as the shock. Make sure that there's no oil or anything leaking out. There's nothing. This bike only has like 10,000 miles on it, so I'm not expecting there to be any mechanical failures or faults here. By the way, this is a 2022 model. So the 2022 GSA, and I'm just really looking for anything that looks out of place, any kind of wetness, anything like that. Coming back to the rear tire here, this tire is definitely bald. It's done. And I'm going to inspect the rear brakes. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the camera in there very good. Maybe you can see it. Yeah, the rear brakes are in good shape. There's nothing going on here. So just a very quick inspection. One of the things that I should have looked at on the other side is just what the oil level was when I pulled it in here. Your oil level indicator is right here, and it is right up to the top of the red circle. That is great, and it actually looks quite clean. That oil looks really good. Yeah, but it's going to get changed out anyway today. And my employee right there. For those of you guys don't know, that's Beamer, and Beamer is a dang good dog. He's a great shop dog. Really enjoy him. He likes to hang out here in the shop with me. Right, buddy? Yeah, he's a good boy. Okay, you don't have to start with the oil change. You can start wherever you want. I'm going to start with the oil change today. Depends on how hot it is, I guess. If you just pulled it in here and it's, you know, nuclear hot, then maybe do the brake flush first to let it cool down just a little bit before you burn the heck out of your hands. You have to remove this panel here, this rock plate, protective plate. This is held on, in this case, it's held on by some T30 bolts. We have access to our drain plug right here. That is going to be a 10 millimeter hex. And then right here is our oil filter. So one of the tricks that I use, I guess, would be, I don't know if it's a trick or not, probably not. I got this material here that I put in my oil pan to stop it from splashing all over the place. When these bikes are super hot, you know, the oil is a lot thinner, and when it hits the bottom of the pan, it shoots all over the place. This will pretty much prevent that from happening, and yeah, it really saves me from a lot of thermal burns. Okay, here's our drain plug. Just give it a quick snap. And the way you don't burn yourself is loosen it all the way up and then quickly tear it out of there. So loosen it and then just pull it. There you go. Didn't get a drop on me. You can go ahead and inspect the magnet. In this case, there's nothing there to see. Well, that's draining. And also have a look at your little sealing ring that's on here. Okay, a lot of times you can reuse these rings. If they're not all smashed, just inspect it, have a good look at it. If it does look smashed, go ahead and change it. If not, you can save yourself a few pennies by just reusing it. So while that's draining out, I'm going to move the pan just a little bit over, and I'm going to go ahead and pull off the filter. In this case, this filter is it's one that has, I think, I don't know, 15 lands or something on it. You can get this filter removal tool. It's usually a cap wrench. You can find those on my Amazon page. That works the best for retorquing the oil filter back on as a cap wrench. You can use a strap wrench, but you're not going to get it torqued on there correctly. If it drips on the exhaust, don't worry about it. You're going to rinse it off anyway. Not a problem. Make sure that the ring comes off with it. Make sure that this black ring comes off with the oil filter. Now you can buy the BMW filters, but if you watch one of my videos on how these are made versus others, they're good. There's nothing wrong with the BMW filter, but you're going to pay a lot more money for it. And that's the filter you'll get at the dealership. In this case, I'm going to be using an HF160. You can find these on my Amazon page. Just take a little bit of used oil, put it on the gasket. Try to clean up any mess right now while we can. And spin the new filter on. Obviously, we're not going to pre-fill this one because it's on its side. I'm going to torque the filter down to 11 Newton meters. I know a lot of you guys out there are not familiar with Newton meters. But if you're going to own one of these bikes and you're going to work on one, I would really suggest that you get familiar with them. It's a very easy system that's always whole numbers. It's not like, 11.35 or anything. It's not inch pounds. It's or even in foot pounds. There is conversion tables. If you don't have a Newton meter, something that reads in Newton meters, you can obviously do a conversion to get it to be inch pounds. In this case, I've got a torque wrench that is made just for this. 11 Newton meters. There it is. Run this plug back in. On this particular model, with this one being a 10 millimeter, we're going to torque that down to 40 Newton meters. 40. There we go. And I'm just going to take a little brake cleaner. Rinse down the exhaust. Just so it doesn't smoke on the guy when he gets it thinking there's a oil fire underneath him. There we go. Okay, at this time we can put our cover back in. Go put some oil in it. Alright, over on the right side of the bike you got your fill port. In this case it is a 5-star bit. You might have a tool that came with your bike in order to get the fill port open. Sometimes it's got a different shape to it. This one, as you can see in the camera there, it's got a 5-star security bit. And I just happen to have a 5-star security bit in my toolbox. That's what it takes. Anyway, we are going to fill it up with 4 liters of oil. Oil is your choice. You bring it to my shop, you'll get my choice of oil, but if you're changing this yourself, well, you go out and you research whatever the heck you want for your bike. What on earth is that? Rough. Anyway, I got my container here. It's got 4 liters. I got it marked on the side here. The R1250 GS, 4 liters. And we're just going to pour this in, close it up, move on to the next thing. After you're done filling it, you'll see on the window down below that it will be over the mark, but when you start it up and you get some oil in that filter, it will drop down to the appropriate level. And when it comes to the level on these bikes, on these wet heads, I really recommend that you try to keep your oil level above the halfway point on your sight window, because then you're getting enough oil on your clutch, and your clutch is up in the front on these, and you really want to make sure that you're getting a proper amount of oil, that thing's basically sitting in oil all the time. It's not really going to hurt it terrible if you run it low, but it's just never good to run any machine low on oil. And it is definitely above the sight window. Alright, the next part, I'm going to go ahead and change out the lubricant in the final drive. Just for the sake of the video, though, and this only has to do with when I do the brake flush, I'm going to remove the rear tire. I need to remove the rear tire anyway because that's going to get changed. So I'm going to remove it just so you guys can have a better view of what's going on. You do not need to remove the rear tire, though, for this part of the service. The thing I do like about these GS is that they're easy to take the tires off. Okay, right here you've got your fill port. So you want to loosen your fill port first. This is a 6 millimeter here, and you got a T45, I believe, right underneath here. So 2 different sockets, because it's BMW. Why would they make them the same? Just give it a quick snap. You can see it does help to remove the tire, but you can get in here with just regular tools, and I do it quite often with leaving the tire on here. So you got a little crush washer on here. It's a little copper crush washer. Again, you can usually reuse these as long as somebody didn't over torque it. Copper does hold up a little bit better than the aluminum ones. And just wipe it off if there's any kind of debris on there. In this case, it was a little dark. I think that the final drive probably hasn't been done in a while on this thing. Yeah, it doesn't look terrible. So you got a magnet right in there. You want to clean that out. So the way that I clean these out with all the stuff is I use a wood toothpick, a wood Q-tip, and just dig in there. You can see that's all metal. Little metal particles. Just do your best to clean this thing up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but do get down to the bottom. Do inspect your O-ring, make sure it's okay. If it's torn or anything, you want to make sure you change that out, otherwise you'll be leaking the whole time. That would not be good. So the bottom one is going to get torqued down to 20 Newton meters. Now we're going to fill it up with 180 milliliters of oil. In case you're wondering, I'm using 75-110 Severe Gear by AMSOIL. You don't have to use this. You can use whatever your preference is. If you like mobile products, or you like Castrol, or, and boy, it doesn't matter. Just change it out. So we got 180 milliliters right there, and we're just going to put it in through the fill hole here. I'm just going to go slow because it does tend to, if you go a little bit too fast, it will tend to backfill, and then it makes a mess. And you can put your fill plug back in. Make sure you got your crush washer on there. If you did remove your tire, that's a really good way to check your brakes. Now, we did inspect them before, and they were fine. Same thing, we're going to torque it down to 20 Newton meters. And that's that. Now, onto the brakes. I like to start right here at the back of the brakes, the back brakes, because, well, I'm already back here. You can start on the front brakes, it's not a problem. First thing I do when whenever I do a brake flush, even if I've done it before, on this bike I have not, but even if I did it last year, I always take my tester. I have this brake fluid tester, and it basically tells me how much water is in the system. If it's over 4% water, that's way too much. I like it to either be right here at 0% or 1%, so less than 1%. So if it shows up in the, you know, the first yellow light, that's okay. 2%, yeah, I'm getting to wanting to change that. And if it's in the red, I definitely want to change it. And looking at this brake fluid, I can see it's going straight to red because it's kind of a dark color, but you can see it goes right to red. So who knows how much water this thing has in it. Could be a lot. The other thing that I do on an unknown bike, you know, not new to me, look down inside here and I take a Q-tip and I stir it up. There's a lot of times there is a bunch of water. In fact, there's a lot of water in this one. I can see it. I'll bring the camera over and you can see what's going on. And if you see down in there, if I stir this up, you'll see like little white chunks kind of floating around in there. I'm sure you can see them. If you can't, believe me, they're there. Anyways, I stir this thing up just to get it mixed up as best as I can. Get all that gelatinous garbage that's at the bottom of these reservoirs stirred up in here, so when I use my little vacuum tool, I can suck that out of there. I'm going to take my little vacuum. This is a different vacuum tool. It looks like the same one that was for the gear lube, but I don't share those. Yeah, I can see the chunks that are in there floating around. Yeah, anyways, I've got multiple of these. Yeah, you can see all those the chunks in there. Not cool. With there being the white chunks in there, I'm going to wipe this out inside to get any other chunks in the brakes. Are not cool. Alright, we got our .4 here. So one of the things, guys, to note is if you see a lot of chunks in there, it is really, really important to do your brake flush, and it's really super important to do the complete flush. What do I mean by that? Is I have the GS911 tool or something to activate the pump that's in here, because it has been my experience that it is more than likely that there is water contamination now inside your ABS pump, and it will cause a failure over time. This one's not going to be failed. It's going to work, but I know that sometimes when I do this brake flush, this part of the flush becomes very, very difficult sometimes. Not all the time. I don't know if it'll happen this time or not, but I've certainly experienced it where I could almost feel water getting pushed either into the pump or just outside of the pump, and you've got to have a GS911 tool. Guys, if you're not willing to invest in one of those tools because they are expensive, please take it to someone. Bring it to me. I have one of those tools. I will do your brake flush for you properly, and it is super, super important. You don't want anything to go wrong with your brake system for obvious reasons, but also because of the expense. And you don't want to be buying a pump for these things. And it won't be covered under warranty anymore because this brake fluid was very likely to be the original in here. This is a 22, it's now 2025. You got 3-year-old brake fluid in here. Not covered by warranty anymore. Take care of your bikes. So pull your little cap off of here, off the bleed port. This is going to be an 11mm bleed port. I like to open them up and close them just to make sure that it is functioning before I really get going on this. Put my hose on here. With the catch bottle. My apologies for all the sirens going on in the background. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep an eye on this while I'm pumping this. But I'm going to open up the valve, push this down, close the valve, let it up. And I'm going to repeat that process probably 8 to 10 times until this thing gets pretty low. Then I'm going to refill it, do it again, and then I'm going to run the computer. Run the program on the computer. So I'm going to run at least 2 full reservoirs through this. And then I'm going to run the computer program. So on your GS, your access port for your computer is right here underneath this cover. So this is my GS911 tool. If yours has a round plug on it, you definitely need to have one that looks like that, the OBD port. They also make them with just the OBD port already attached. And you can find these on my Amazon page. You can get them from different outlets. Amazon's going to be good. You're really going to get the same price no matter where you go. And if you buy them from the Amazon page, it helps me out just a little bit. I get a few pennies on the dollar as being a creator, content creator. So now it's hooked up to my computer, and I will show you that interface real briefly. Okay, here on my computer, I'm just going to open this up, and I got to turn the bike on. I have to key it on. And there are no codes in this one. I can't believe it. No codes. All the lights are green. That's great. So I'm going to go over here to detected vehicle and then to ABS brakes and go to the service functions. Right here, XABS functions. And I'm going to bleed the brakes. And when I click this continue flush 1 here, it's going to run the pump, and I'm going to press down on the brake 3 times for about 2 seconds apiece. And then I'm going to flush the brakes again. And that's going to flush out any air or water that's in that system right now. Alright, once the pump stops running, we're going to flush the brakes out again and run the second flush. I'm going to turn the bike off. And it tells you to turn the bike back on again, but I'll do that later. Now I'm going to go ahead and flush it. Basically, I'm going to flush it one more time, and I'm going to take it right down here to the max level on this one. Now onto the front circuit, we have our bleed port right here. Once again, this is an 8mm. Because, you know, BMW, they don't make the same sizes for anything. Just going to open it and close it, make sure it works. And then we're going to remove the cap on the top. Now, before you remove the cap on the top, make sure you do something here to protect your paintwork. Because the brake fluid is highly caustic and it will affect your paintwork. Or if you get it on these little plastics here, in this case, it will immediately damage the plastic. Okay, the cap is held on with T20 bits. So use a T20 screwdriver and pull these off. Do have some rags nearby if, in case when you remove this cap, it wants to spill out. Sometimes these are filled up really tall and they leak out. Especially if somebody would have changed out the brake pads, you know, like it was low, they filled it, and then they changed the brake pads down below, and then squeezed all that fluid back up in here. This is going to be extremely full. So we're just going to have a rag nearby. In this case, it is actually a little low. My Q-tip again. Just run it around in here. I don't really see anything in this one. I don't see any white chunks. No, there's nothing here. If this had a lot of the white stuff in there, I would take time to clean all that really well. And then now we're just going to go ahead and bleed the brakes like we did before. Open it up, squeeze, close, and just keep repeating this. I like to get pretty much a full reservoir through. You can gravity bleed these. You can just let it stay open and it will bleed out. But you really got to make sure that you don't run out on the top. You know, this has more control because I'm part of the process. I may get distracted or something, you know, by emails or something, and or maybe my wife will call me and then I'll forget about this, and then the whole system will drain out, and yep, then I'm going to be doing a lot more work that I don't want to be doing. Fill it back up. Now I'm going to run that computer program again. Again, I'm just going to squeeze here. Wait for it to shut off and then flush it out again. Continue to flush too. Back off. In this case, I will turn it back on briefly. It says it's done it completed the process, and that's that. I'm going to go ahead and flush this a few more times on this side. Alright, same deal on the other side, in that I just broke it open just to make sure that it did open. Now because I've already flushed out the pump, I don't need to do that part again. I really just need, all I'm doing right now is flushing that caliper over there. It'll take 5 to 10 pumps and then it's done. And the way I do it is I usually wind up just kind of straddling the front so I can reach the handle and reach the wrench at the same time. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is on the computer, I'm going to go ahead and reset the service reminder for the guy. And that's going to be it. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And do subscribe to the channel. That always helps. And, you know, helps encourage me to make more videos. And if you want to see more, certainly leave a comment down below. If you got any questions or anything like that, again, comment down below. And the last thing is, if you want me to work on your bike, maybe you'll see it right here on this lift, on a video, send it to me, Kirk at kirksmotorrad.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you on the next one.